So let's get started because I know that it's a midweek, and sometimes midweek is like the new Monday instead. Okay, so here we are, and let us go into the introduction. So a lot of people ask why BlueTree. So allow us to just quickly say, okay, blue because it stands for the color of wisdom and clarity, and we always like to tell our students next time wear this color, okay, when you want to go for interview. Okay, then they will always ask why. Okay, because I say, yeah, make you look smart. And tree, of course, is a firm foundation in skills and knowledge. And we like the word tree very much when we first chose the name, because we also want our children to be deeply rooted in their morals, right, in their character, so that it's not just a place whereby they come in, learn the academics. Right. And of course, we all know tree is such a nice thing, right? So comforting. Okay, it's a very like under the tree, it's all the positive feelings. So, and therefore BlueTree. Okay, so these are some of the reviews, okay, by parents just like you, right? They may have students, children who have already graduated, and these are many excellent reviews that they spend time writing for us. Okay, so for your information, all these are written by the parents themselves. Okay, we do not give what credit or what $5 voucher or free French fries, okay, that kind of thing. No, so all our parents really left the review on their accord, okay, and it is all heartfelt thanks. So if you go and read, right, not one is the same, all right. Every of them, they really from their own experience, they share. They really want parents who are just like them to let you know that why BlueTree is really the place to go to if you're looking for math and science tuition, right? So more feedback here. So this is for PPC. All right. Okay. So PPC is actually our PSLE prep program, our PSLE prep course, and it's a very popular program if you have primary 6 children. Okay. It is well known, right, for not only the interesting content, right, the challenging questions, and also our success rate for PSLE prep course is very high, right? About 90% of our children will achieve AL1 to 3. Okay, so this is myself, all right. I'm a mother of 3. So just like many of you here, I have children. Okay, now I actually have 2 teenagers, all right. Okay, my elder girl, all right, this one here, she's now Set 1 this year, and my youngest is in primary 4. Okay, and of course, this is teacher Faith and myself with some of our ex-students, right? And okay, we set up BlueTree Education 10 years ago. So this is our 10th year anniversary, okay? But having said that, right, I also see myself as a friend to the children, a coach to them. And to me, education always remains as the main life changer. Thank you, Kelly. So nice. Yeah, we will have some celebration. Yeah, you'll probably cut a cake, like celebrating a 10th year birthday party. Yeah, Sherlyn, okay? Yeah. All right, okay, and then of course we have teacher Sherlyn.
Hello everybody, I'm teacher Sherlyn. So I've been teaching math for about 10 years. Okay, so I specialize in upper primary math, and I strongly believe that every child is unique. Okay, so all of you all have your own gifts. Some of you are good at dancing, okay, which some of you are good at drawing. Okay, some of you are good at singing. You need not be academic. It can be something else. Okay, so just go and find out what you are good at. Okay, you may not know now, but I'm sure as you grow older, you will know what you're good at. It took me a while before I know what I'm good at, but it's okay. Just explore and find out what you're good at. Okay, so at BlueTree, we actually communicate very closely with our parents. So I actually love working closely with the parents as well, because I have a boy, he's 3. So I actually send him for classes as well. So I like it a lot when the teachers actually text me, maybe a picture of my boy in class, So at BlueTree, we do that as well. So not only do we share with you what your child is doing in class, we also update you like, what to focus on. For example, today I gave my P5 class a WA practice. Okay, so I actually shared with the parents what are the things to take note of, like which questions, which questions you have to do again. So these are things that our teachers at BlueTree actually, we are very good at. We communicate very closely with our parents because we believe that having a tight communication is very important. It's not just teaching, right? But you need to communicate.
Yeah, and also we also understand that these days parents are all working, are very busy, right? So if without the tight communication, right, we know that it's very hard, to keep abreast to the things that's changing or what's going on in your child's life. Especially these few years, if you notice, there's a lot of curriculum changes, a lot, all right? From the AL system, to the curriculum, testing, to the topics. For science, they dropped the entire topic. Okay, for math, I know that that's like switch up, So
yeah, they removed the ratio from the P5.
Oh, then where is it now?
P6. Yeah, they moved it to P6. Yeah, so it's a huge change as well.
I see. Okay, so for the P5s, right, they do not have cells anymore. They remove the entire topic. And they park a very tiny concept under reproduction. Yeah, but okay, having said that, and parents, know if you have a primary 4 child, all right, the oral also is different. The oral percentage has increased to 25%. Okay, so it is a very high weightage now for oral. Okay, so there's a lot of changes. Yeah, so we really like to keep very tight communication so that we help you also to understand what's going on, right? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so here, this is the AL system. Teacher Sherlyn, want to share?
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, so I like to ask parents to take a look at this, right? If you click again, you can actually see that AL6 is actually in red. Joe can help to click one more time.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why my...
Oh, okay. Yeah. So why I look at AL6 is because it actually has the greatest range if you take a look at all the marks, right? So I always tell my students, if you are in this range, we try to get out of this range because a 5 marks improvement is actually is also an improvement. It's a huge improvement, 5 marks. But if you are scoring like, let's say 60, 5 marks, you can get out of it. But if you're scoring 50, even if you get a 10 marks improvement, you're still in this AL6 range. So parents do take note of this. So at least you are aware of the marks range for the different AL.
Yeah. Maybe just to add on, I'm sure that a lot of the parents may have heard from your friends who had dragon babies, right? That last year the cutoff point was really hard, really went low. Okay, most of the school -1, some schools dropped by 3. The school that dropped by 4, okay, there was a school that dropped by 4, okay, I think one of the more popular neighborhood school. So the thing is, knowing the AL system is one thing, parents. You need to also know what is the cutoff point of the secondary schools that your child may aim for. All right. So all this is very helpful, especially when you're doing goal setting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is related to also the posting group that we want to educate you about. Okay, so I'm sure that you all have heard about this. There's no more parents, no more express, normal tech, no more. That one is our time. Okay, now must change lingo already. The lingo is G1, G2, G3. Okay. So G3 is actually the express stream. All right, G2 is actually the normal acad, and G1 is the normal tech stream. Okay, and each of the posting group, right, has a cut-off point to it. Okay, so although they say it's up to 20, all right, for G3, but if you look closely at the schools under the 18 to 20, right, you might find that you have very limited choices. So again, it's one thing to know about this, right? You really need to know the cut-off point of the schools that you're aiming for, parents, okay? And last year, maybe you can say, oh, there's a lot of dragon babies. So that's why the cutoff point went down. But however, MOE also came out to say that they opened up more classes. So that is very strange to me. Yeah. In fact, I was personally very surprised that some of the school dropped by 4 points. Right? Okay, so it's very important to have that information. Okay? Yeah.
So this is actually P3 and P4. You have some P4 parents here, right? This is the banding. Okay, then when you move on to P5 and P6, that's where you actually use the AL system already. You don't use the banding anymore. So if you were to click again, right, you can actually see that if you're scoring a band 1 now in P3 and P4, 85 and above, okay, not too bad, right? You're very good. Okay, but when you move on to P5 and P6, your band 1 is no longer a 1. Okay, it's either a 1 or a 2. Okay, if you're scoring 85, then you are a 2. Yeah, going to a 3. Yeah, then if you click again, then same thing, you can see that 70 to 84 is actually, can you see, it's actually a bigger range now. So that's why they always say that when you go to P5, there's a huge drop. Yeah, you can actually see the range based on this picture here.
Yeah. So it's because when you are P4, right, marking scheme is also so-called kinder like in that sense. So it may give our children a false impression that they are doing well. But as you can see, it splits into very broad. I mean, from really broad, it became narrower. All right. So your child is being defined further in terms of their skills and their knowledge. Okay. So when it comes to subject mastery, right, at primary 4, right, when the children were asking, how are you doing now? What's your, how they will tell me band 2. They're like, okay, are you at 70 or are you at 80? You know, I always like to ask this because the 70s, right, they are actually at AL5. Okay, parents, they're actually at AL5. So if your child is band 2, your child is actually at AL5. All right, and with P6, right, and P5, it is harder with the content. So some of them may drop to AL6. Okay, so if your child has 2 AL6 and 2 AL5, all right, so that is 12 plus 10, your child is in G2, which is what we term as normal stream in our generation. So in MOE, right, if you read all the MOE, their official statements, to them, AL5 is not bad. Okay. So to them, AL5, right, is adequate. Okay, it's a good, adequate grasp of subject mastery, but yet they are in G2, right? If they have, like, say, the example are 2, 6, and 2, 5s. Okay. So this is just again to bring your awareness. So very important to know this so that your goal setting, when your conversation with your child, right, especially at primary 4, you would know what it means. Okay. And of course, band 4 is with our 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay. So when you look at this, right, parents, did it occur to you that, oh, no wonder the AL1 and 2 so difficult? Because it's actually very narrow. Can you all see it's 5 marks, 5 marks. It's very narrow on top, right? And then at the back, it becomes broader. Okay. Okay, so if you're primary, you have a snake baby. You must know this. This one must be committed to your memory. Okay. So for our snake babies parents, do you know that you are 34 weeks away? Your child has 34 more lessons to PSLE. Do y'all know this? I don't think you know. Okay, so one term in school is 10, but your primary 6 child, right, will not take PSLE at week 40. They do not. All right. So your snake babies, they take PSLE at week 3 of the term, and now this is their week 5, right, or week 6 already. Is it coming? This is what else, right? This is week 3, week 4, right? So they already have 4 lessons gone, right? So 6 plus 10 plus 10 plus 3. Oh, shorter than I thought. 29. They only have 29 academic lessons, right? So for our 6 babies, it's really tight, and a lot of them might have their first WA, all right, somewhere in February after Chinese New Year, March. So this is where also you will receive the first set of results. We will really want to encourage you, okay, to sign up for our March holiday program, okay? Because like we say just now, your child has only 29 academic lessons. So this is something that you need to take into consideration. Okay, so when parents tell us, oh, they never had tuition, then they can't have tuition at primary 6. So that's why you see all the teachers go like, it's very deep and long. It's a reason why, okay? So if you're primary 5 and your child is starting for tuition, well done, okay? You are actually knowing the game and you're getting ready earlier, okay? Getting ready early is the key, right? And of course, later on, okay, we will have the various exams, and as you can see, prelims is somewhere in August, okay? So just to also put your perspective, July is when July is oral, okay? So actually, after June, right, things basically, yeah, the word is the time is not flying. Yeah, I told my girl, right, I don't feel that time was flying. I felt that time was dissolving. It wasn't. I don't know where the time went. Like, huh? Already, like after June, it just Next. Okay. Right. So these are tentative dates, but I think MOE has already released the confirmed schedule for, has it? I think one of the parents said confirm already. Okay. So parents, if you need the dates, right, do go to the MOE website. Okay. Those are the most updated, right? Okay. Okay. So far, so good, parents. Doing okay? All right, then I'll go into science. Okay, I'll go into science first. Thank you. Okay, so for science, all right. Okay, so for the first thing, right, I always like to show this. Okay, so for science, altogether, we actually have 32 uh, topics, parents. And for your children, if they're in primary 5, primary 6, okay, you will notice that they have a lot of topics in under interactions and energy, all right? So these are the topics that currently your children are actually learning. If your child is in primary 5, then of course your child is learning this, and this, okay? Cycles and systems. In fact, okay, if your child is primary 5, right, the content is the heaviest, okay? Because plant reproduction and water and its three states are very, very huge topic, okay? So primary 5, right, parents, okay, do take notice. And so therefore, if your child tell you that science is difficult, right, yes, it's difficult, right, because it's content heavy, right? All right, and here, so why is science difficult? So science so difficult to score. So these are some of the common things. The science textbook, right? I don't know whether maybe parents can share. Does the school still ask you to buy science textbook? Or they tell you not to buy, but you use notes instead? Like they will give you notes. Oh, yes. All right. Okay. Oh, but never use. Buy. But is there notes given? No notes given. Oh, wow. Oh, but yet never use the textbook. No notes given. No, or both buy. Got notes, got textbook. Wow, interesting. Every school different, eh? Notes given. Okay, great. Okay, so a lot of schools actually give their own notes now, all right? Because as you all can see, the science textbook, right, is more towards the mastery of the content, but it doesn't teach the answer structure. It doesn't teach the keywords. It also doesn't teach the skills. So that's why a lot of children don't find it very useful, right? And of course, it also doesn't tell you how, you should study for science. Yeah, I know, Kelly. Okay, so here, for the upper primary student, it's 1 hour 45 minutes for the exam. And these are some of the common struggle. They are unable to manage the dual concepts. Okay, so like for example, heat and properties of material, electricity with magnet. This is a very very common combo question, right? But they find it very difficult. They also cannot link the concept to the open-ended. So if you look at the recent PSLE, right, there's more and more real-life question and more questions that requires analytical thinking. But again, our children are sometimes when they read the books, right, they don't transfer the application, right? They could be unaware of the marks or the format, lack of exam stamina, because now the removal of the mid-year exams, right, our children actually do not get sufficient practice. So because of insufficient practice, right, so that's why in the end, okay, you find that your child, right, they will tell you, oh, I'm very sleepy, after half an hour, oh, I cannot focus anymore. Or they tell you, I don't know, I keep going to the toilet. They will say this kind of stuff because they don't have enough practice. So it's very important that if you have a primary 5, primary 6 child, all right, you must start them on some form of exam practice, right? Okay. So the other thing, of course, in P4, you have a lot of questions that's 2-3 marks. But all these 2-3 marks questions are now all become only 1 mark. Right, so they used to give you more marks for one sentence answer, but for P5, right, suddenly that 1 mark, that one sentence only becomes 1 mark. All right, okay. And of course, they have poor exam skills. Right, a lot of your child don't analyze and annotate. Right, they also don't highlight keywords. They also do not know what is the answer, the question term asking for. All right, so I'm going to show you some examples now in booklet B. Right, so prepare to take not lots of notes. So parents, you can actually take pictures, right? So if your child's not beside you, I will really strongly recommend that you take photos. Then later on you can show your child or you can WhatsApp them. Okay, that's what I did. Every time I listen to like teacher Sherlyn or teacher Faith, I will take a lot of photos. Then after I WhatsApp my primary 6 girl last year. Then I'll ask her, you know this or not? You know how to do or not? You know or not? I'll check in with her, and if she says that she doesn't know how to do, right, then I'll go like, oh, so this type of question you don't know how to do, then I'll practice with her more. Okay, so this was a 2022 question, okay, which is on human waste, but actually it was on mosquitoes. By the way, mosquitoes is a very popular insect in PSLE. Okay, last year they chose another insect, right? But it's very popular. It appears almost every year. See, this question, right? The children, they were all stumped. They don't know how to answer, right? Because the diagram is a very unfamiliar one, right? This is actually an outdoor toilet. So our kids, how many of our children has used the outdoor toilet? Hardly, right? Right, because ours are city kids. So, but nonetheless, okay, there is a way to answer this. And this is what I meant by first, your child may not have very good exam skills. So if your child exam skills is good, right? Actually, the first thing that they should do is to identify the key topics. This topic is actually under living together, which is a primary 6 topic, as well as life cycle, which is a primary 4 topic. So this is the typical combo question that I highlighted earlier, right? So first, always ask your child to highlight the keyword. The keyword is collect human waste. Okay. Okay. So when I highlight this in class, right, I'll ask the children, do you all know what is human waste? So a lot of them will say, yes, I know, it's shit. But some of them will say, huh? Toilet paper lor. We throw something inside lor. And I was like, oh, so the toilet paper belongs to the human. Okay, so parents, you have to check in with your child whether they understand the word human waste. Okay, so in short, it's actually poop lah, right? Okay, so here, after that, you will look at the diagram. Now, the diagram actually has a lot of information. And I always like to tell the children, okay, all right, that the question is their best friend. The question is their best friend because there's a lot of information. But again, our children are not trained, all right, to identify information that from the questions. Parents, when you're doing questions at home, right, train your child, slow down, look for the right information. It's really very important, right? So concept check. What do mosquitoes need to lay their eggs in? Okay, so you need to do concept check because science is all about content. Okay, parents, science, in order to score well for science, the very first thing that your child must have is excellent content knowledge, right? So of course we know water. Okay, water is needed. That's why we all have the dengue fever song, right? Okay, right? Turn over your pots. Okay, no stagnant water. Okay, so we all know mosquito need water to lay eggs in. So therefore, why do they like to lay their eggs in? Because the human waste has water, and because it has water to lay their eggs in, okay, so therefore, okay, the mosquitoes like to do that. Okay, so even with this, some children already have a problem. Okay, then the second question. So they say that, okay, one group of living things that produces this waste. The answer will be bacteria and decomposition. Okay, again, they cannot say rotting or go bad, okay, because this requires keyword. Okay, so this one again is concept check. Okay, we all know that bacteria breaks down dead matter into simpler substances, right? And to my surprise, some children actually do not know that human waste, which is poop, is actually considered as matter. So anything, right, okay, matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. So this is again content, but primary 4, right, when they learn it, they don't link it to real life, okay? So again, parents, okay, when you are going through science, right, okay, first must check their content knowledge. Second, remind them to read very carefully. The question is their best friend, okay? Another next question, the next question. So this is part C. So in PSLE, although it's one question, but one question can be broken up into 3, right? So as you can see, if your child, right, is stuck in the first question, do you think that your child has the confidence to go to the part B? Unlikely, right? So if the children, they are shaken already by part A, usually part B, they will lose their confidence. When you're doing your work with your child, right, always tell them, do not worry, okay? It doesn't mean that if you cannot score in part A, you cannot score in part B. Tell them it is different concept. Although the topic is the same, but the concept will be different, okay? So tell them to stay calm and continue on, all right? Okay, so next one here, it says that the gases was carried in a tube. So again, for this question, okay, the key thing is it says it traps and kills mosquitoes. See, they thought that there's poison inside lah, the gas has poison, or the tube carries some form of poison because they were thinking of bygone. Okay, so our children very cute. They are city kids lah. So, when I was going through this, right, they'll say, Teacher Joe, is it that this tube is an automatic bygone, like they were thinking of those auto toilet machine that actually gives out the fragrance and like some sort of diffuser, like those that is in those high like shopping mall toilets. They thought it's those kind of toilet, So I say no. I say this is not those automatic dispenser. It's not bygone. They say, but it kills mosquitoes. I'm like, but this is an outdoor toilet. I say, why would they need a dispenser? Okay. So I said, you all must continue to read the question. So our children, when they see the word trap and kill, right, they will not read the second part. So again, remind your kids to really, 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 okay, read the question. Okay, so the clue is actually from part B. This is sort of like dependent question. So if they can get part B correct, right, they know that bacteria is the one, all right, that enables decomposition. And decomposition actually gives out carbon dioxide. So actually the carbon dioxide is the one that will attract the mosquito to come and lay eggs, right? So you see, part C asks you why it will attract the mosquito, but the stem says that it traps and kills mosquito. So parents, can you see what's in your child's mind? Up there say traps and kill mosquito. Down there say attract mosquito. Huh? I'm very confused. So to them, they cannot link the context. They cannot see it. So when you are doing science question, right, you must really tell your child the question is your best friend. One by one, break it down slowly. All right, okay? So for the last question, right, it has nothing to do with the gas. It's simply because there was no food for the mosquito to feed on. So the entire question is part A, B, C, D. And each part, right, is kind of like a separate concept about the mosquito. So after this question is done, one of my kids actually told me, I felt that I was left, right, up, down by the mosquito question. I said, huh, what do you mean? Teacher Joe, from part A, I already boom. Part B, I also boom. Part C, I boom. And part D, I give up. So I was like, so difficult to say, yeah. And all the questions are very long. So when this question came out, right, when I bought the book, I'm like, wow, the answer is shorter than the question. No wonder. Okay. So parents, again, check your child's content knowledge. Very important. Second, build your child's exam skills. Read carefully. Okay. Another question also about mosquito. Okay. So this is another PSLE question. It's on life cycle. So you see all these questions, right? They are very difficult, but the topics are from your child's primary 4, primary 4 topic, primary 5 topic. It's not from primary 6. They are all the easier topic. Okay. And this is like a cause and effect because it's explained how it prevents. Here, breeding, your child must know that breeding means reproduce. Okay, so all these words are commonly used in PSLE. But when you do assessment books, parents, when you do assessment books, you realize that these words do not appear. So I want to tell parents, don't buy assessment books. Don't buy them. Okay, a lot of the words that the assessment books write, they are not parallel to the PSLE. Okay, so it is actually better to buy the past year school papers, right? It's better to buy past year school papers because at least the schools will use words that are compliant to the PSLE. So again, concept check. Okay, so always do concept check. So ask your child, what does the oil do? So the oil actually blocks the oxygen from entering, and therefore the life cycle becomes incomplete, right? Because the mosquito larvae will die, right? It was unable to take in oxygen from the air. Right, so therefore, because the oil actually blocks the oxygen from reaching it. Okay, now children has a misconception here. They thought that the mosquito larvae will take the oxygen, dissolve oxygen from the water. Okay, so again, parents, when you're doing science at home, please have content check, all right, concept check. Okay, of course, some parents will tell me that I cannot teach science, teacher Joe. I forgot everything. Okay, if you are parents like that, okay, sorry, then send to tuition. Okay, because if you teach the wrong thing, it'll be very hard for you to unteach because you are your children's first hero. So whatever you say, right, they were like, oh, yes, mommy, that is correct. Yes. And it goes deep into their memory bank. So I actually have a child, right, who was arguing with me on this, saying, my mommy said that the mosquito larvae has gills. It can take in dissolved oxygen from the water. Why you say cannot? And then I'm like, if the mosquito larvae has gills, then why does it need a breathing tube? Okay, so parents, mosquito larvae, right? Okay, just to put in here, it cannot, it's not a fish, it cannot take in water, oxygen from the water, right? So therefore, it needs a breathing tube. So always do concept check first. So you see, this is the part whereby the textbook isn't very useful, right? Correct? So textbook won't tell you all this misconception. The notes maybe will tell you, but the tuition classes like us, teachers like us, were experienced, we will definitely let you know because we've taught so many children and they tell us all the things, you know, that's in their mind. They really clarify. So that's how I know that, oh, no wonder so many children cannot answer such question. Okay, so it's a cause and effect, and therefore the larva will die and unable to develop into an adult, right? So therefore the less adult mosquitoes can reproduce. Okay, right. And then this is a cause and effect question. So cause and effect question, usually there's a skill. I'll tell the children, identify the cause and write down the effect. Okay. Okay, another mosquito question. You see, so many mosquito questions. All PSLE are all PSLE question. And this is a experiment question. Now, this one here, it asks you to state a hypothesis. Now, hypothesis is seldom taught in school. It's a very unusual question term. So when this question came out, right, I was also very surprised myself, all right, because I have not seen hypothesis question for quite some time, right? So now, however, after this question came out, it became very common, okay? So hypothesis is basically a logical guess, okay, based on what the experiment is about. It's the aim of the experiment. It's like a logical guess of what the result could be, okay? Right. Okay, so another similar, okay, suggest-wise, you see, this one here, it is not really based in concept, but they can use the mosquito question to change it to an experiment, right? So your part of science, right, to do well in science is experiment type questions, which at primary 3, they are already introduced, right? By the time they are primary 5 and primary 6, such experiment type questions, right, becomes really common. In a way, they are like the math heuristics question, okay? It's not like taught explicitly with the topic. They are like every topic you will see them, every topic is the same heuristics, okay? Every topic, but children always see them as heuristics and topic, they should be together because they are children. Children always see white, black. Okay, but unfortunately, our heuristics is like gray. Okay, so they will appear in every single topic. So the way to teach them, right, is to teach them the question type and what is the answer, the related answer skill, right? Okay, all right. I have finished on with the science. Maybe teacher Sherlyn can share the slides on your side.
Yeah, I share. Yeah.
Okay. Can. Parents, any questions so far? Are you doing okay? I know I share quite quite difficult content there. Yeah. Are you okay? Any questions? Oh, good. So far, great job. Yeah. Okay, they can take some photos, like I say. All right. Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to share the math portion, all right? So just now Teacher Joe actually shared that there's a lot of syllabus change. So for math, there's also a lot. So this year's PSLE P6 students, they will be the last batch, okay, that will be following the old syllabus. Okay, so this is our paper 1. So P6 parents, just take note, it's the same one. Paper 1 is 45 marks, okay, and paper 2 is 55. So I always tell my students in class, if you are aiming to score AL1, AL2, okay, AL1 or AL2, your paper 1 must score at least 40 and above. If you want to be very safe, 42 and above. Okay. And then of course, paper 2 is the other part of the paper. You must also do very well because you need to score 90 and above for AL1, right? But if you're scoring let's say AL4, AL5, Paper 1 is also very important because paper 1 are the shorter questions, the MCQ, the short questions. So I always tell my students at least score 30 and above for paper 1. Okay, so paper 1 is very, very important. And when you're doing practices at home, paper 1 is 1 hour. There's no calculators allowed. Usually we will tell them, give yourself 45 minutes. Why is that so? Because during exams, right, some students have exam anxiety or you want to check your work. So if your whole practice is always 45 minutes, you're able to complete the entire paper 1 in 45 minutes. If I give you a 1 hour paper, you have more time to check and you have more time to do the questions. So this will help you to score better as well. Okay, then paper 2, similarly 1 hour 30 minutes, but for home practice, give yourself 1 hour 15 minutes. So when you're doing the work, always remember to time yourself. Do it in exam conditions. I know some of my students, they like to listen to music when they're doing their work or eat something, right? I'll say try not to do that. Treat it like a real exam. Because I have a student that said that, oh, I like to listen to music when I do my work. But in exams, you can't listen to any music. What if, because of that, you can't concentrate as well? So just treat it like a real exam when you're doing your work. Okay? So then this is the new exam format. So parents, your kids are in P5, P4. Okay, this will be the new one. Okay, so paper 1 will be 50 marks and paper 2 also 50 marks. So 50-50. Okay, previously you have 15 MCQ, now you have 10. Okay, but if you take a look at it, they actually break it down. 10 questions, which is 1 mark each, and 8 questions is 2 marks each. Previously, it was 5 questions. Now it's 8 questions, 2 marks each. Okay, and then you have 12 short questions, and same thing, calculator is not allowed. Okay, so then for paper 2 is 50 marks, and is 16 questions instead of 17 questions. Okay, and then again, you can take a look at the breakdown of the marks. 5 questions, 2 marks each, 11 questions, 3, 4, and 5 marks. Okay. So you can take a picture of this as this is the new exam format. Okay. Okay, so this will be the topic change. Okay. So P4, geometry is actually removed. Okay. And then there's no more 8-point compass. Last time they used to test this, they've removed it already. Okay, and then you can take a look. They actually move the time from P2 to P1, so they bring it down. Okay, then for the 12 hours and 24 hours clock, it used to be taught in P4, then they bring it down as well, P3. Okay, and then average, it used to be taught in P5, now they bring it to P6. Okay, ratio, just now what I was sharing, it used to be taught in P5, now they bring it up to P6 as well. Okay, and then pie chart, it's a P6 topic, but now it became a P4 topic. Okay, and then nets as well, P6 topic, now it became a P4 topic. And yes, they actually remove speed from the primary syllabus. They bring it to secondary school. So what does this mean? If you take a look again, time, 24 hours clock, I usually find it quite challenging for some students, okay, but now they bring it down to P3. So for parents who have younger kids, you can start to share with them the concept of time now. Maybe you can start with the 12 hours clock first, then you transit to a 24 hours clock. So when they move on to primary school, right, it's not something very foreign to them. Time is something that, hey, mommy, daddy have taught me before. Okay. And then ratio, I think this is the biggest change. Many of the students, even when you teach them ratio in P5, you actually find that it's very hard for them to understand the concept of ratio. Now they actually bring it to P6. So you have a shorter runway to learn ratio. So, yep. Okay, so it's going to be harder. Okay, and then pie chart is just a very small percentage. So I think it's good that they brought it down to P4. They learn it earlier, then they will be able to understand pie chart earlier, because pie chart is actually linked to fractions, decimals, and eventually percentage in P6. So I think it's good that they brought it down. Okay, and nets. Nets is something that you can't expect your child to be able to see it just by teaching them. It's all about visualization, and this one requires you to teach them when they are very young. Okay, start playing with those cubes, Legos. Play with things that requires your child to be able to visualize something. So bring it down to P4 is a good thing as well, I think. Okay, so if you have younger kids, start to share with them, those counting magnetic tiles, have you all seen before? Where you can actually form a cuboid, share with them, explain to them what's a cube, how many faces a cube have, when you open it up, how it looks like. These are called nets. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to share some recap properties of shapes. Okay, so as I was sharing earlier, in P3, right, and P4, you actually learn very basic shapes. like square and rectangle. So all your child needs to know is what are the properties of a square and a rectangle, right? A square has 4 equal sides, okay? And then how do you find the area of these shapes? All you have to do is to take length times breadth, all right? So very straightforward, okay? Then area of a triangle, you learn this in P5, okay? So the formula is just half times base times height. But I want to emphasize on this part where students always have difficulty finding the height of the triangle. Okay, base is very straightforward. Students will be able to say, oh, this triangle, this is the base, right? Okay, this triangle here, this is the base and this is the base. But where is the height? Okay, for this triangle here, always remember this definition, okay? The height must actually be perpendicular to the base of the triangle and the highest point of the triangle. So I always ask my students to locate where the highest point is. Okay, a triangle has 3 sides, right? Okay, so one. Okay, then the second one. Okay, the third one, right? So if you were to take a look at this triangle now, the highest point is actually your 1. Okay, so from the highest point, they are supposed to have a perpendicular line to the base. So if you draw it down, right, this is the right angle, right? And then the height will be here. Okay. So this is actually the height. So with this definition, finding the height is very simple. And why is finding the height so important? If you can't locate the correct height, you will not be able to get the correct answer when you fill it into the formula. So I give you an example for the next question. Okay. Okay, so same thing, the base. Okay, so there's 3 points, right? 1, 2, 3. Where's the highest point? Number 1 is the highest point. So from the highest point, find the right angle down. So the right angle will actually be here. Okay, let me just draw a dotted line. Okay, and then you can see that this is actually your height. It's always from the highest point. This is the highest point. Okay, and then the last triangle is a common triangle where students will tell me this is the height. Okay, but this is actually not the height. Okay, the height must always be perpendicular to the highest point of the triangle. So same thing, look at this. Where is the highest point of the triangle first? Let's locate the highest point. This is the highest point, right? And then if you were to draw a right angle down, okay, if you extend the base here, you can see that this is actually the height. Okay, so this is the basic things that you have to know when you are learning the new topic on area of triangle, not just putting the numbers in, the base and the height, but understanding how to locate the height. Then that will help you when you're solving composite figures when there are more than one shapes in the figure, when you move on to P5 and P6. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's take a look at this question together. So in the figure below, 2 squares of different sizes are joined together. So you can see there's one square here, a bigger one, and a smaller square. So find the area of the shaded triangle ACE. So I always tell my students, okay, let's look at the question. There are 2 squares. A square means that they are all equal sides. So you need to know the properties of the squares first. So if this is 17, this will be 17. If this is 13, this will also be 13 cm. Okay? So if you take a look at the shaded triangle, you realize that I won't be able to find the area of this triangle because I do not know what the base is and I do not know what the height is, right? But if I were to take a look at the unshaded part instead, don't just focus on the shaded. I know the question asks you to find shaded, but I can't find anything based on the shaded. So we take a look at the unshaded triangles. You actually see 3 unshaded triangles. Okay, and very important, always label them. You can write triangle A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, doesn't matter. Okay, so after you label them, you actually realize that all the triangles here, they are all right angle triangle. And if they are right angle triangle, it will be very simple to apply the formula half times base times height to find the area of each triangle. So let's try to find the area of triangle X first. Here, the blue triangle. So if you can take a look, the base is actually 17 plus 13. Okay, how we get 17 and 13? Because there's the dimensions given to us, right? And then the height is 17 here because it's a square, so the sides are the same. So this gives you 255 square cm. Okay, so this is the area of X. So let's find the area of triangle Y now. It's also a right angle triangle. So similarly, you can find this, the base, and the height. So how do you find this 4 cm here? You take 17, one side of a square, minus 13 because this is the smaller square, right? Okay, and that gives you 34. So let's take a look at the last triangle, triangle Z. Okay, so half times 13, you get 84.5. So far, all right? You are able to find the area of the three triangles, right? Very easily. So one more thing to take note, always remember to label your work. Okay, because you have so many numbers, right? So good to write all these labels so you know what the different numbers actually represent. Okay, if not, you will not know what is the 255, what is the 34, and what is the 84.5, right? Okay, so after you have found the three triangles, don't stop there. The question is asking you to find shaded triangle. You have only found the unshaded triangle. So what should you do next? You actually have to find the total area of the figure, okay, which is the two squares, by taking 17 times 17 plus 13 times 13. And that gives you 458. And then you have one last step. Okay, you have to take 458 minus away area of triangle X, Y, and Z. Okay, and that will give you 84.5. So if you take a look at this question, it seems very straightforward, but there are actually so many steps that you have to do. If you don't have proper labels and if you don't label your triangles, it's going to be very messy. Okay, and then there's a chance that students will substitute the wrong numbers in, or they do not know what the numbers represent. So when you're in P5 and P6, it's always very important to write your labels. All right? So anyone wants to take a picture, you can take a picture, then you can let your child try the questions again. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at the next question now. Okay, in the figure below, it shows a rectangle ABCD and a triangle DFC. Okay, can you see the triangle here? So the area of rectangle ABCD is 98 square centimeters. The unshaded part of the rectangle is 32 square centimeters. Okay, and then you have ABF and DEF are straight lines. What is the area of the shaded part CEF, this portion here? Okay, so they told you that the area of this rectangle is 98. Okay, and the unshaded part of the rectangle is 32. All right, so let's take a look at this green triangle in the middle first. Okay, CDF. You can see that I have already found out that this is the base and this is the height. Okay, because this is the highest point. If you draw a dotted line down, you can see there's a right angle here. Okay, so locating the base and the height is very important. So that's the first thing that your child have to know. Okay, and then now, since you know that the area of triangle DCF is actually half times base times height, right? And you know that the base is actually DC, okay, and the height is AD. And if you take a look at this diagram, if the entire rectangle ABC have an area of 98, the area of the triangle, this triangle here, is actually the area of half of the rectangle. Okay, because this is the base and the height is over here. It's half of it. Okay, so half of 98 actually gives you 49. So this is the information that many students do not know how to do. Okay, they're stuck here. Okay, so once you have found this 49, then it's pretty easy already to find the area of triangle CEF. All you have to do is to take the whole area of this triangle here, 49, minus away the blue, 32, and then you'll get the answer of 17. Okay, so this is a challenging question. You must be able to locate this triangle CDF to know that it's half the area of the rectangle. If not, you won't be able to solve this question. Okay? So you can take a picture of this as well. Then I will move on to the next question. Okay, let's take a look at the next question together. So the figure below, not drawn to scale, shows a square in a right angle triangle. Okay, can you see a square? So again, always when I see a square, I always ask my student, what are the properties? Okay, you must make sure you know everything is the same. 3 cm, this will be 3 cm as well. Okay, so find the area of the shaded part. Alright, so first, this is a right angle and this is a straight line. So let's go back to what is the angles on a straight line. It always adds up to 180 degrees, right? So if you take 180 minus this right angle here, 90, you will be left with 90, and 90 degrees belongs to these two angles here. Okay? And side of a square, they're all the same, so good to write it down. Alright? So we drew another figure for you, so it's easier for you all to see, okay? If you can see, the sum of the two angles is actually 90 degrees, the two angles at the side here, right? Okay, and we'll be able to locate the height. Okay, this green line here. Why is this the height? Because the height must always be perpendicular to the base of the triangle and the highest point, right? So how do we find the shaded area now? It's only one step. You can see it's actually half, okay, times 10 times 4, because this is a right angle. Okay, perpendicular right angle. So this is the base and this is the height. Okay, so it's half times 10 times 4. So actually you don't need the 3 cm. Okay, so that's 20 square centimeters. So the square is needed to only tell you that this is a right angle. The 3 cm is like a distractor. You don't need the numbers here at all. Okay, so you can take a picture of this question as well. So far, you're all right. Is there anything you're unsure? Okay, then I'll move on already, okay? Okay, so next part I'll go on is angles. So I always remind my students it's very important to write your angles referencing. So what are the angles that you're trying to look for? The labels, okay? Is it angle ABC, angle CDE? Okay, all this is very important. So you know what you're writing, what you're finding. Okay, and please remember to indicate your degree symbol. If no units are given, then half marks will be deducted. So any units question, you must make sure you write your units, okay? Don't forget your units, very, very important. And please don't write the wrong units, because if you write the wrong units, then 1 mark will be deducted. So just make sure you write the correct units, okay? Okay, let's take a look at another paper 2 question, okay? So the first thing, always when I see a angles question like this, I will always ask my students, okay, take a pause first, read the question. What are the shapes given to you? Usually there will be more than one, okay? So rhombus, so then we will recap. What are the properties of a rhombus? First, rhombus is a slanted square, which means that a square means all the sides are the same. So I'll get them to draw the 4 lines to show that all the sides are the same. Okay, and then of course you have 2 sets of parallel lines. And very important, when you see that there are parallel lines, immediately you must know the different angles already. You have the alternate angles, you have the corresponding angles, and you have the interior angles. Okay, they call it the Z and the C. Okay, and of course opposite angles are also equal, and the 4 angles actually adds up to 360 degrees. And the last one, the diagonals cuts the angles into half. So basically you have 2 isosceles triangle. So you see, parents, just one keyword rhombus, right? These are the things that the teachers require your child to know at the back of their head. Okay, these are the properties that they may not need to use everything, but at least a few of them to solve the questions. So you need to be very familiar with all the properties of your angles in order to solve angles question. Okay, but that's not all. You have another shape here. You have an equilateral triangle. So there are different triangles, right? Isosceles triangle, equilateral triangle, scalene triangle. So what is an equilateral triangle? So then again, your child must know, oh, equilateral looks like the word equal, right? The sum of angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So if all of the angles are equal, it just means that each of them, they are 60 degrees. Okay? And of course, all the sides are the same. So after they have come up with this, then okay, let's solve the question now. Okay? So DGH is a straight line. All right, a straight line here. Okay, find angle Y. So let's take a look. Since it's an equilateral triangle, I like to put all the numbers in. Okay, 60, 60, 60, right? Okay, then now let's take a look at the rhombus. Remember earlier we said a rhombus, opposite angles are the same. So if this is 102, this angle here will also be 102. So that's where the properties comes in. If you know your properties, you'll be able to do it very quickly. But if you do not know, then for angles question, you won't be able to solve the question. Okay, so you need to know your properties of the different shapes. Okay, there are still parallelogram and all the different shapes. All right, so now, if you take a look, angles at a point always adds up to 360 degrees. So if you take 360, minus away this 102, minus away 155, you actually have 103 here. All right? All right. And then the next one, the question says that DGH is a straight line, right? Okay, so then you will be able to take 180 minus 96 minus the equilateral triangle here, 60, you get 24 here. And you see this is a small triangle. Okay, angles in a triangle always adds up to 180, right? So then you can take 180 minus these 2 angles, you get 53. All right, and opposite angles are the same. It's an X. So if this is 53, this will also be 53. Then the last triangle here, 180 minus 60 minus 53. And that gives you the answer Y. So a very simple 3 marks question. They are actually testing you on so many different properties. And you must also make sure you key the correct numbers in the calculator. You write the correct numbers down. Okay, and you label your work properly. If not, you may not know what the angles are. So angles question is the one that I always tell my students, please practice. Only when you keep practicing on angles question, then you will remember the properties because you see, oh, rhombus again, okay, opposite angles are the same, okay, all the sides are the same. So when you keep practicing, then you will be writing all the angles, properties down, and then you'll be able to solve it. Okay, so math is all about practicing, practicing, and practicing. All right. Okay, so now for our school exams and PSLE, right, for the math paper, they actually have 3 different types of question. Okay, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay, so level 1 is your very basic recall questions. They make up about 20 to 30% of the paper. So what is level 1 questions? I give you an example. Your teacher just taught you the volume formula and they just asked you to find the volume of the cuboid. They give you the length, the breadth, and the height. So all your child needs to do is just to key the numbers into the calculator. Okay, so this is called basic level 1 questions. So level 2 questions is a little bit, there's a little of application here, but very simple. Okay, so it's about 35 to 45%. So it's still the same volume formula. I gave you the volume, I gave you the length and the breadth, you find the height. So they have to work backwards. Okay, you have to divide. Okay, level 3 questions is the same volume concept, but I need you to apply it to a question, a real life question. So for example, water is poured from tank A to tank B, and then you have to make the water level the same. Okay, some parents may have seen such questions before, P5, P6. Okay, so it makes up about 30 to 40% of the paper. So if you were to look at it overall, right, level 2 and level 3 questions makes up majority of the paper. There are some level 1 questions, but level 2 and level 3 are the very level 3 usually are the challenging ones, right? Level 2, okay, the intermediate ones. Okay, but level 3 is about 40%. Okay, so knowing your level 3 questions are very important. Okay. So we actually have different classes, programs at BlueTree. Okay, our weekly regular lessons, some of you are with us for regular lessons. Okay, we actually go through our usual new topics. Okay, and then of course revision. Okay, for science we have experiments. For math we have manipulatives in class. Okay, and then the next program is our PPC. So just now teacher Jo actually shared PPC is where we actually go through all the higher order thinking questions. Okay, your level 3 questions. Okay, you want to score your AL1, AL2, AL3, level 3 questions is very important. Okay, and then we also have our PIC. Okay, PIC will be rolling out soon. Okay, so this is actually to go through past March. You have to go through past exam papers. Okay, so it's also an online class. Okay, PPC, PIC, they're all online class. Okay, we have paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, so yeah, we will share more in March. Yeah, so this is just going through our past exam papers. Okay, so for both PPC and PIC, since it's an online class, right, all the lesson recording will be given. So lesson recording is wonderful. You can actually watch the lesson recording, try the questions again. Anytime you don't understand the question, just rewatch, listen to the explanation again and try again. Okay. Okay, so for PPC, it's actually 30 lessons. It's already ongoing. All right, we are already at lesson 3 this week. Okay, so it's online lesson. It's very intensive. Questions are very challenging. I just went through, it's 1 hour, but 1 hour passed very quickly. Okay, I was doing with my students 1 hour. They're like, wow, the questions are so difficult. Yes, it's supposed to stretch you. Okay, but don't worry, after the lesson, they all learn a lot because it's a very packed lesson. They actually learn a lot and they just have to rewatch the recording again. And okay, lessons are recorded as I shared. You can always watch and review the recording again, try the questions again. Okay. Okay, so every week worksheets will be provided, notes will be provided, and then you can actually the worksheets will be mailed to the parents. Okay, so you can actually have the worksheets. Okay, and during the live session, we will teach the concepts, explain the questions. Okay, and for math, we always want the students to try the questions before the lesson if possible. Even if you do not know how to do, it's okay, just try. So at least during lesson time, right, you already tried the questions once. Then when I go through, right, it will be a lot easier for you to understand. And it's more beneficial as well. You already looked through the questions already. Okay, we'll be sharing exam strategies, how to score your AL1, AL2, okay, and of course the marking tips, what to take note of, what to write and what not to write on your paper. Okay? So students who are hungry for more knowledge, please join us. You want to learn the smarter way, you're very driven, you're very focused, okay, you want to learn exam strategies. Like I said, it's only a 1 hour lesson for once a week. Okay, it's going to be fun. You're going to learn a lot during that 1 hour. And yeah, you need to be willing to put in the effort as well, okay? So yeah, parents who are committed to help your child, please join us for this PPC program.
Okay, maybe I add a bit more. Okay, for PPC, right, the materials are written very carefully. Okay, they are research based on the past PSLE papers. So they are very PSLE compliant. Okay, so some parents will ask, why only 1 hour? Because these students, they in the first place, they are very, very motivated. All right, so 1 hour is actually sufficient. And the other thing is the curriculum is very, very effective because like we mentioned, we put a lot of effort to research. And the success rate, right, is 9 in 10 will achieve AL 1 to 3. So parents, in case you are thinking, real or not, okay, you just go and read all the Google review, okay? Okay, just go on to our Google, okay? We have 1,000 reviews. So you can go and read, okay? These parents, right, they are, again, like I said, they are all for real, all right? We didn't give them French fries, free drinks, like I say, okay, or what, $5 discount. We did not. You can check out any of our branch. Nobody will bug you for what Google review, all right? So these are sincerely from the parents, just like you. They want their child to have the best chance. If your child is in PSLE, you want your child to have the best possible chance to choose the school that they want. It is devastating for us to know that some children, all right, they didn't manage to go into the school of their choice, okay? And the parents, right, it is even more devastating when the parents come to us and say, I should have signed up with you. Okay, you have no idea how many such regretful statements we hear year after year. And that's why we do our best, okay, to reach out to as many parents as we can to educate them early. The truth is we don't need to do this. We don't need to tell you. We don't need to share, right? These are like, how should I say, trade secrets, right? But we are very open and happy to share with you because we really want to help your child. But on the other hand, we're also very practical. We know that if you're not an educator, all this information and content, right, it's very, very difficult for any parent to really download and help your child, because at the end, right, these are professional skills, all right, and knowledge parents. It's just like you won't ask, you won't take over a doctor's job, you won't take over an accountant's job, you won't take over a, I don't know. So what will you, so for teachers, right, it's also like, because we have professional skills and knowledge that we know how to work with your child. So for PPC, right, it is very effective because the teachers who are teaching PPC, we are either myself and Faith, which are founders, or teacher Sherlyn and teacher Christina, which are HODs. We are all very experienced in this.